You know what? I need to stop you right now before you squeeze that lemon into your morning routine today, because what I'm about to tell you could genuinely save your life, and I am not being dramatic. I've been in the health and wellness space for decades, and there's one thing that drives me absolutely crazy, and that is when people assume that just because something is natural, just because something comes from a fruit tree, it must be safe to combine with anything and everything. Lemon is one of those foods that almost everyone thinks is universally good, universally safe, and universally beneficial no matter what you pair it with. And look, I get it. Lemon is incredible. It's packed with vitamin C, it supports your immune system, it helps with digestion, and it even has some beautiful antioxidant properties. But here's the thing that nobody is talking about, and I mean nobody. When you combine lemon with certain specific foods, especially when you are over the age of 60, you are not getting a health boost. You are actually creating a chemical reaction inside your body that can lead to serious, and I mean serious, health complications. We're talking about everything from dangerous spikes in blood pressure to kidney damage to nutrient absorption problems that can leave your bones brittle and your energy completely drained. And the worst part is, you might be doing this every single day without even knowing it. My name is Dr. Harper Collins, and this is Senior Health, and today I'm going to walk you through 3 foods that you should absolutely never combine with lemon if you are over the age of 60. Now, I want you to stay with me all the way through this video because the third food I'm going to reveal, is something that almost every single person over 60 eats regularly. And when you hear what happens when it mixes with lemon in your digestive system, you are going to be shocked. So let's get right into this. Now, before I tell you about the first food, I want you to understand something really important about what happens inside your body as you age, because this is the foundation that makes everything I'm about to say make sense. When you were 25 or 30 years old, your body had an incredible ability to buffer acids, to regulate pH levels, and to handle all kinds of food combinations without much trouble. Your kidneys were working at full capacity, your liver was processing everything efficiently, and your stomach lining was thick and resilient. But once you crossed that 60-year mark, things change dramatically. Your kidney function naturally declines, sometimes by as much as 30 to 40% compared to when you were young. Your stomach lining becomes thinner and more sensitive. Your liver doesn't detoxify as quickly, and your body's ability to maintain proper pH balance becomes much more fragile. So, when you introduce a highly acidic food like lemon, which has a pH of around 2, which is extremely acidic, and you combine it with the wrong foods, you are essentially overwhelming a system that is already working harder than it used to just to keep you balanced, and that's where the problems begin. So let's talk about food number 1, and this is one that I see people combining with lemon all the time, and it genuinely worries me. The first food you should never mix with lemon if you are over 60 is milk, and I'm including all dairy products in this, so we're talking about milk, yogurt, cheese, cream, and anything that is dairy-based. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Dr. Harper, I put lemon in my tea and I add milk, or I squeeze lemon over my fish and then I have a glass of milk with my meal, or I make a smoothie with yogurt and lemon juice. And all of those things seem perfectly harmless, right? But here's what's actually happening inside your stomach when you do this. When the citric acid in lemon comes into contact with the casein protein in milk, it causes the milk to curdle. Now you might think, okay, curdled milk, that's just a texture thing, that's just unpleasant but not dangerous. But that is not the full story. When milk curdles in your stomach due to the high acidity of lemon, it forms these dense, hard-to-digest protein clumps. For a younger person, their digestive system can usually break these down eventually. But for someone over 60, whose digestive enzyme production has already declined significantly, these clumps can sit in your stomach and your intestines for much longer than they should. And this creates a cascade of problems. First, it causes extreme bloating and gas. And I'm not talking about mild discomfort. I'm talking about the kind of bloating that makes you feel like your abdomen is going to burst, the kind that keeps you up at night and makes you feel miserable for hours. Second, and this is really important, the curdling process actually changes the molecular structure of the calcium in the dairy. You see, one of the main reasons people over 60 consume dairy is for the calcium, right? You want to keep your bones strong, you want to prevent osteoporosis, you want to maintain bone density, but when lemon acid interacts with dairy calcium, it converts a significant portion of that calcium into calcium citrate in a form that your body actually has a much harder time absorbing in the digestive tract. So you think you're getting your calcium, you think you're supporting your bones, but in reality, a large percentage of that calcium is passing right through you without being absorbed. And over time, over weeks and months and years of doing this, you are actually contributing to bone loss without even realizing it. But it gets even worse than that. The undigested curdled protein and the poorly absorbed calcium can put additional strain on your kidneys. Remember what I said earlier about kidney function declining as you age? Well, your kidneys now have to work overtime to filter out these poorly processed compounds, and for someone who already has reduced kidney function, which is extremely common over the age of 60, this can accelerate kidney deterioration. I've seen cases where people who regularly combined lemon with dairy experienced significant increases in their kidney stress markers, and they had no idea that this simple food combination was the culprit. So, what should you do instead? It's really simple. If you want to enjoy lemon, have it, but separate it from your dairy by at least 2 hours. Have your lemon water in the morning and then have your yogurt or your milk or your cheese later in the day. Give your body time to process each one separately. This one simple change can make a massive difference in your calcium absorption, your digestive comfort, and your kidney health. Now let's move on to food number 2, and this one is going to surprise a lot of you because it's something that is widely considered to be one of the healthiest foods on the planet. The second food you should never mix with lemon if you are over 60 is seafood, and specifically I'm talking about shellfish. So that includes shrimp, crab, lobster, mussels, clams, and oysters. Now I can already hear some of you saying, "Wait a minute, Dr. Harper. People squeeze lemon on shrimp all the time. Lemon and seafood is a classic combination. Every restaurant serves it that way." And you're right, it is a classic combination, and it's one that a younger person with a fully functioning digestive and detoxification system can usually handle without too many issues. But for someone over 60, this combination can be genuinely dangerous, and here's why. Shellfish naturally contains compounds called protein-reactive amines and certain naturally occurring heavy metals in very small trace amounts. Now, in normal circumstances, when you eat shellfish on its own, your body's detoxification system, primarily your liver and kidneys, can process these compounds without any trouble. They're handled, they're neutralized, and they're excreted. No problem. But when you add lemon juice to shellfish, the high concentration of citric acid and ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, actually alters the chemical environment in your stomach in a way that changes how these compounds behave. Specifically, the vitamin C in lemon can enhance the absorption of certain metals found in shellfish, including trace amounts of mercury, arsenic, and cadmium that are naturally present in ocean-dwelling creatures. Now, for a young person with robust detoxification pathways, this enhanced absorption might not cause noticeable problems. But for someone over 60, whose liver is already processing things more slowly and whose kidneys are already working at reduced capacity, this increased absorption of heavy metals can accumulate over time and contribute to a range of health issues, including neurological problems, joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, and even increased risk of certain chronic diseases. And there's another layer to this that most people don't know about. When citric acid from lemon interacts with the proteins in shellfish in your stomach's acidic environment, it can create compounds that are significantly harder for your aging digestive system to break down. This can trigger intense allergic-like reactions in some people over 60, even if they've eaten shellfish their entire lives without any problems. You see, as your immune system changes with age, it becomes more reactive to certain protein configurations, and the lemon-altered shellfish proteins can sometimes trigger histamine responses that you never experienced before. I've had people tell me, "Dr. Harper, I've eaten shrimp with lemon my whole life, and suddenly at 63 I started getting hives and stomach cramps, and I didn't understand why. And when we removed the lemon from the equation but kept the shrimp, the reaction stopped completely. Now, I also want to mention something about the digestive aspect specifically. Shellfish is already one of the harder proteins for the human body to digest, and as you age, your production of hydrochloric acid in your stomach decreases naturally. This means you're already struggling a bit more to break down dense proteins like shellfish. When you add lemon juice, you might think you're helping because lemon is acidic, but the type of acid in lemon actually doesn't function the same way as your natural stomach acid, hydrochloric acid. Instead of aiding digestion, the citric acid can actually interfere with the action of pepsin, which is the primary enzyme responsible for breaking down protein in your stomach. So, you end up with partially digested shellfish proteins sitting in your gut, fermenting, causing gas, causing inflammation, and potentially allowing larger protein molecules to pass through your intestinal wall, which is a condition often referred to as increased intestinal permeability, or what some people call leaky gut. So what's the alternative? Enjoy your shellfish, absolutely. It's a wonderful source of protein and omega-3 fatty acids. But instead of squeezing lemon on it, try using a small amount of high-quality olive oil with herbs like parsley or dill. You get a beautiful flavor, and you avoid all of these potential complications. If you really want your vitamin C, have an orange or a kiwi a couple of hours before or after your shellfish meal, not at the same time. And now we've arrived at number 3, and I told you at the beginning of this video that this one would shock you, and I meant it. This is the food combination that I believe is the most dangerous of all 3, and it's the one that the most people over 60 are doing every single day without any idea of the harm it's causing. The third food you should never mix with lemon if you are over 60 is certain medications, and I know medications aren't technically a food, but you consume them, they go into your digestive system, and they interact with everything else you eat and drink. So for the purposes of your health and safety, I'm including them here because this is absolutely critical information. Now, I'm specifically talking about 3 categories of medications that are extremely commonly prescribed to people over 60. The first is blood pressure medications, particularly ACE inhibitors and calcium channel blockers. The second is blood thinners, particularly warfarin and similar anticoagulants. And the third is antacids and medications for acid reflux, including proton pump inhibitors. Let me start with blood pressure medications because this affects an enormous number of people over 60. Many blood pressure medications, especially those in the ACE inhibitor category, work by regulating potassium levels in your body as part of how they control your blood pressure. Now here's the problem. Lemon is surprisingly high in potassium. 1 cup of lemon juice contains a significant amount of potassium, and when you combine that with a medication that is already affecting your potassium levels, you can end up with a condition called hyperkalemia, which is dangerously high potassium in your blood. And hyperkalemia is not something to mess around with. It can cause heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, it can cause cardiac arrest. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to inform you because this is real, this happens, and most people have absolutely no idea that their morning lemon water could be interacting with their blood pressure medication in this way. Now let me talk about blood thinners because this is equally important. Warfarin and similar blood thinning medications work on a very delicate balance in your body. They thin your blood to prevent dangerous clots, but they have to be carefully calibrated so that your blood doesn't become too thin, which would put you at risk for uncontrolled bleeding. The vitamin C in lemon can actually interfere with how warfarin is metabolized in your liver. High doses of vitamin C, and you'd be surprised how quickly lemon consumption can add up to high doses, especially if you're having lemon water multiple times a day, can reduce the effectiveness of warfarin. This means your blood might not be thinned adequately, which puts you at increased risk for blood clots, stroke, and heart attack. Alternatively, in some individuals, the interaction can go the other way and make the blood too thin, increasing the risk of internal bleeding. Either way, it's a dangerous gamble, and it's one that can be easily avoided simply by being aware of this interaction. And then there are the antacids and proton pump inhibitors. These medications work by reducing the acid in your stomach to treat conditions like acid reflux, GERD, and stomach ulcers. But when you consume lemon, which is extremely acidic, you are essentially working against the very thing your medication is trying to do. You're adding acid back into a system that your medication is trying to calm down. This doesn't just make your medication less effective, it can actually cause what's known as rebound hyperacidity, where your stomach responds to the conflicting signals by producing even more acid than it normally would. This can worsen your acid reflux symptoms dramatically, it can damage your esophagus, and it can even contribute to the development of stomach ulcers. I've seen people who were managing their acid reflux perfectly well with medication, and then they started a daily lemon water habit because they read online that it was good for them. And within weeks, their acid reflux was worse than it had ever been. And they couldn't figure out why until we identified the lemon as the problem. Now, I want to be very clear about something, and this is important. I am not saying that lemon is bad for you. Lemon is a wonderful food with many genuine health benefits. What I am saying is that when you are over 60, your body processes things differently, your organs don't function with the same efficiency they once did, and certain combinations that might be harmless for a younger person can become problematic or even dangerous for you. The key is awareness and timing. Here are some general guidelines that I recommend to all of my viewers who are over 60. If you enjoy lemon water, have it on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, and then wait at least 30 minutes before eating anything else or taking any medications. Always talk to your doctor or pharmacist about potential food-drug interactions, especially when it comes to acidic foods like lemon. Don't combine lemon directly with dairy products, separate them by at least 2 hours. And skip the lemon on your shellfish and opt for other flavor enhancers instead. You know, I started this channel because I believe that everyone deserves to have access to clear, honest, science-backed health information, especially those of us who are over 60 and who have unique health considerations that are too often overlooked in mainstream health advice. So much of the health content out there is geared toward younger people, and the advice that works for a 25-year-old can sometimes be harmful for a 65-year-old. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I need your help spreading this information. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you did, please hit that like button right now because it helps this video reach more people who need to hear this information. And if you're not already subscribed to Senior Health, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. I release new content regularly, and every single video is designed specifically with your health and well-being in mind. I also want to hear from you in the comments below. Were you combining lemon with any of these 3 foods or medications? Did you have any idea about these interactions before watching this video? Let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions, drop those down there too. I read every single comment, and I do my best to respond to as many as I can because your health matters to me. And before I let you go, I want to remind you of something that I think is really important. Getting older is a privilege, not a punishment. Your body is changing, yes, but that doesn't mean you can't live a vibrant, energetic, fulfilling life well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. It just means you need to be a little smarter, a little more intentional, and a little more informed about the choices you make every single day. And that's exactly what this channel is here to help you with. I'm Dr. Harper Collins, this is Senior Health, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself because you deserve it.